Amidst the dynamic and intricate mosaic of the Middle Ages, knights emerge not just as armored behemoths, but as the very heartbeat of legend and chivalry. They were more than mere warriors clad in gleaming mail. They were the embodiment of an era's soul, walking a fine line between myth and reality. Their existence, often romanticized in tales and songs, was an intricate dance of bravery, duty, and surprisingly, mundane simplicity. These figures, often perceived as larger than life, navigated a world rife with fierce battles, political intrigue, and an unwritten code of honor that dictated their every move. Welcome to another episode of Plaid Chronicles. Beneath the clatter of swords and the flutter of banners, the life of a knight was a multifaceted saga, inviting us to delve deeper into the intricate layers of their existence, revealing a story far richer and more complex than mere tales of valor. The romanticized image of medieval knights as both literate and martially adept figures, akin to the heroes of Arthurian legends, belies a more complex and pragmatic reality. In the Middle Ages, knighthood was less about scholarly pursuits and more about martial prowess and the practicalities of warfare. Despite their noble status, many knights were illiterate, a fact that might seem paradoxical given their esteemed position in society. The training yards of medieval Europe resonated with the sounds of combat, not the quiet rustle of pages turning. Young nobles and aspiring knights were immersed in the art of war, learning the skills necessary for battle: swordsmanship, horsemanship, and the strategies of warfare. This focus on martial training left little room for scholarly education, which was typically the preserve of the clergy and the highest nobility. In this context, the ability to read and write was considered a luxury, far removed from the immediate demands of a knight's life. This lack of literacy among knights underscores a critical aspect of their role in medieval society. They were warriors first and foremost. Their status and honor derived from their combat skills and battlefield valor rather than academic achievements. The path to knighthood was as diverse as the heraldry that knights wore into battle. While many knights came from noble families inheriting their status, others earned their spurs through acts of bravery and distinguished service. This latter group rose from the ranks of common soldiers, distinguishing themselves through extraordinary courage or significant contributions to their lord's cause. These stories of elevation from commoner to knight, though relatively rare, provided a beacon of hope and aspiration, illustrating that knighthood was not solely the domain of the highborn, but could be attained through valor and merit. Such instances, where individuals transcended their social origins, added a dynamic aspect to the otherwise rigid medieval social structure. The journey to becoming a knight began at an early age. At 7, a boy destined for knighthood would typically leave his family to serve as a page in a noble household. This period was crucial in laying the foundation for his future role. In the lively environment of the castle, amidst the daily routines of court life, the young page would learn the rudiments of courtly etiquette, the basics of martial skills, and the principles of chivalry that would define his conduct as a knight. This early training was essential in grooming the boy not just in the skills of combat, but also in the virtues expected of a knight, such as loyalty, bravery, and honor. At around 14, the journey would progress as the page became a squire, apprenticed to a seasoned knight. This stage was more demanding, characterized by rigorous training and a range of menial tasks. The squire would care for his knight's armor and weapons, accompany him in battles, and learn the art of warfare firsthand. This period was not only about physical and martial training, but also about instilling a sense of responsibility and service. The bond between the knight and his squire was a blend of mentorship and servitude, crucial for the squire's development into a capable and honorable knight. If successful, the culmination of this arduous journey would be the knighting ceremony in the early 20s, a momentous occasion marking the squire's formal entry into the chivalric order. This ceremony was often elaborate, involving religious rituals, symbolic acts like the dubbing with a sword, and oaths of chivalry. Becoming a knight was not merely a change in status, it was a rite of passage, a transformation imbued with social, moral, and spiritual significance. The newly knighted individual emerged not only as a trained warrior, but also as a guardian of the ideals and values that knighthood represented in medieval society. Contrary to the popular belief shaped by centuries of romantic literature, the chivalric code of the Middle Ages was not primarily centered on gallantry towards women. While modern interpretations often highlight this aspect, the original essence of chivalry was firmly rooted in martial values and feudal loyalty. The origins of the chivalric code can be traced back to the early medieval period, a time when the social and political landscape of Europe was dominated by feudalism. In this context, the primary virtues of a knight were martial honor, bravery in battle, and unwavering loyalty to one's lord. These qualities were essential for survival and success in an era where warfare was a frequent and often decisive element of political power. For instance, the Battle of Hastings in 1066, a pivotal moment in English history, was influenced significantly by the chivalric conduct of the knights. Historical texts such as the Song of Roland, a notable epic poem from the 11th century, exemplify these early chivalric ideals. The poem celebrates the valor and loyalty of Roland, a knight serving under Charlemagne, emphasizing his bravery and dedication rather than his conduct towards women or courtly love. This focus reflects the martial spirit of the times, where the prowess and honor of a knight were measured by his ability in battle and his loyalty to his feudal lord. Over time, the chivalric code began to evolve, integrating the influences of courtly culture and romantic idealism. This transformation is partly attributed to the growing influence of the church in medieval society, which sought to temper the violence and brutality of feudal warfare with Christian virtues and morals. The church's involvement led to the incorporation of spiritual and moral dimensions into the code, promoting ideals such as protection of the weak and poor, respect for women, and the pursuit of justice. By the 12th and 13th centuries, the concept of courtly love began to permeate the chivalric code, adding a layer of romantic idealism. This period saw the flourishing of troubadours and poets who extolled the virtues of romantic love and gallantry. Literary works such as Chrétien de Troyes' Arthurian romances played a significant role in shaping this aspect of chivalry. These stories often depicted knights not only as warriors, but also as lovers, loyal to their ladies as they were to their lords. However, it's crucial to understand that this romanticized version of chivalry was more a literary construct than a reflection of everyday reality for knights. Despite these evolving influences, at its core, the chivalric code remained a warrior's ethos. It was about how to conduct oneself in battle, how to serve one's lord with honor, and how to uphold the values of bravery and loyalty in a turbulent and often violent feudal landscape. The tournaments and jousts of the medieval period, highly ritualized martial events, were manifestations of this enduring martial spirit. They were not just grand spectacles, but also opportunities for knights to demonstrate their martial skills and chivalric virtues. While the chivalric code of the Middle Ages did incorporate courtly manners and romantic idealism over time, its foundational principles were deeply rooted in the martial culture of feudal Europe. The code was a reflection of the societal values and norms of the era, evolving to encompass a broader range of virtues, but always retaining its essence as a code for warriors by warriors. In the early Middle Ages, knights often fought without the benefit of heavy armor. Clad in chainmail or simple leather garb, they relied more on speed and agility than on the sheer protective strength of plate armor. The full suit of armor, iconic in its association with the medieval knight, emerged later, an evolution driven by advancements in weaponry and warfare tactics. This armor was a response to the ever-increasing lethality of the battlefield, a necessity in an age where war grew more deadly with each passing year. The medieval tournament, often portrayed as a glamorous affair, was fraught with peril. Beneath the pageantry and chivalry lay a brutal reality. Knights clad in armor would clash in events that, while intended to be non-lethal, often resulted in serious injuries or death. These tournaments were not mere games. They were a crucible in which the skills of warfare were honed and tested, a reflection of the martial nature of knightly life. The cost of knighthood was steep. A knight was responsible for his own armor, weapons, and warhorse, a significant financial burden. The armor, intricately crafted and tailored, was expensive. The warhorse, a specially bred and trained steed, was a symbol of a knight's status, but also a costly necessity. Additionally, the knight had to maintain a retinue of squires and pages, adding to the financial demands of his station. In the chaos of battle, where friend and foe were clad alike in armor, identification was a challenge. Heraldry arose as a solution to this problem. Knights would adorn their shields and surcoats with unique coats of arms, a visual language of colors and symbols that allowed them to be recognized amidst the melee. This heraldry became an integral part of knightly identity, a symbol of family lineage and personal honor that was fiercely protected. Knights of the Middle Ages, often romanticized as valiant warriors clad in shining armor, were indeed much more than just battlefield combatants. Their roles and responsibilities extended into various aspects of medieval life, making them pivotal figures not only in warfare, but also in the governance and administration of the realm. As landowners, knights played a crucial role in the feudal system, a socio-economic structure that dominated medieval Europe. This system was based on the exchange of land for military service. Knights, often granted land by their lords or monarchs, managed these estates, which could range from small manors to significant tracts of land. The management of these estates required more than just martial prowess. It demanded a keen understanding of agriculture, economics, and the welfare of the peasants who worked the land. Knights had to ensure that their lands were productive, as the revenue generated from their estates was crucial for maintaining their status and affording the costs associated with knighthood, such as armor, weapons, and horses. Beyond their economic responsibilities, knights also played a significant role in the administration of justice. In the medieval justice system, knights often served as local judges, resolving disputes and upholding the law within their jurisdictions. This role was vital in maintaining order and stability, especially in rural areas where the reach of central authority was limited. The ability to dispense justice fairly and effectively required a level of wisdom and fairness, underscoring the importance of a knight's role as a local leader and protector of the people. Moreover, knights were integral to the governance of the realm. They served as advisors to lords and kings, bringing their experience and knowledge to the royal court. In times of war, they provided military counsel, and in peacetime, they could be involved in diplomatic negotiations and the implementation of royal decrees. Their role at court was a testament to their importance in the broader political landscape of the Middle Ages, where decisions often hinged on the support and counsel of these warrior aristocrats. In terms of family life, knights were usually married to women of comparable social status, often in unions arranged to strengthen political alliances or secure economic advantages. The family life of a knight was typically patriarchal, with the knight being the head of the household. Women, while playing a crucial role in managing the household and raising children, generally had limited involvement in the public aspects of a knight's life. Children of knights were often groomed from a young age to follow in their footsteps, with boys being trained in the arts of warfare and estate management, and girls being prepared for marriage and the responsibilities of running a household. Living circumstances for knights varied depending on their wealth and status. A knight of considerable means might live in a stone castle or a large manor house, equipped with various amenities and defenses. In contrast, lesser knights might reside in smaller fortifications or even timber houses. Regardless of their dwelling size, a knight's home was often a center of local governance and a symbol of feudal authority. The life of a knight was, therefore, a blend of martial and administrative duties, a balance of sword and scepter that was critical to their role in medieval society. Their training and responsibilities went beyond the battlefield, encompassing estate management, judicial duties, and participation in the political processes of their time. This multifaceted role made knights key figures in the medieval social structure, responsible not only for defending the realm, but also for its governance and prosperity. Their legacy, therefore, is not just one of chivalry and combat, but also of leadership, justice, and administration in a complex and evolving medieval world. During the Middle Ages, a knight's approach to hygiene was markedly different from contemporary standards, shaped by the medical understanding and societal norms of the period. The concept of cleanliness and personal hygiene held a different connotation, deeply influenced by the prevailing medical theories and the practicalities of knightly life. Medieval hygiene practices were guided by the theory of humors, a belief that the body's health was governed by four fluids: blood, phlegm, black bile, and yellow bile. Balance among these humors was thought crucial for good health. Consequently, excessive bathing was often discouraged, as it was believed to upset this delicate balance by opening the pores to harmful influences. Knights, clad in heavy armor for long hours, faced practical challenges in maintaining personal cleanliness. The armor, while a formidable defense in battle, was cumbersome and did not lend itself easily to regular washing. Underneath, knights typically wore a padded garment called a gambeson, which absorbed sweat and provided comfort. This garment, however, could become quite unhygienic over time. Knights would also wear chainmail or metal plates that could rust with excessive exposure to water, further discouraging frequent washing. In terms of grooming, knights often had short hair and beards, primarily for practical reasons. Long hair or beards could be disadvantageous in combat, providing a handhold for an enemy. Moreover, lice and other parasites were common issues, making shorter hair a more hygienic choice. Bathing, while not a daily ritual, was still a part of a knight's life, often done before significant events or ceremonies. Public baths were popular in certain parts of medieval Europe, and knights, like others, would partake in these communal bathing experiences. These baths, however, could also be a source of disease transmission due to the lack of understanding of germ theory. The pros of the medical understanding at the time were largely related to the emphasis on diet and balance, which acknowledged the importance of a well-rounded lifestyle. However, the cons were significant. A lack of understanding of germs and infection led to poor sanitary conditions, especially in crowded living quarters like castles or military camps. This ignorance often resulted in the spread of diseases, some of which could be fatal. A knight's approach to hygiene in the Middle Ages was a product of the era's medical theories and the practical demands of their lifestyle. While they practiced personal cleanliness within the context of their time, the limitations in medical knowledge and the challenges posed by their armor and living conditions often made hygiene a secondary concern compared to the exigencies of knightly duties. The advent of gunpowder in the cannon heralded the end of the knight's era. The traditional armor and tactics, once the pinnacle of military supremacy, were rendered obsolete by these new technologies. By the end of the 15th century, the age of the knight, as it had been known, was drawing to a close, a victim of the relentless march of. In the Middle Ages, the mortality rates among knights were significantly influenced by their martial lifestyle and the inherent risks of their station. As elite warriors, knights were frequently engaged in battles, tournaments, and military campaigns, which were fraught with danger. Historical records, like those from the 100 Years' War, indicate that knights suffered high casualty rates in major battles. For instance, at the Battle of Agincourt in 1415, a significant number of French knights were killed, partly due to the muddy battlefield which impeded their movement and made them easy targets for English longbowmen. Moreover, the code of chivalry and the pursuit of honor often led knights to the forefront of battles, increasing their risk of injury or death. The tournament, a popular aspect of knightly life, was not without its perils. Deaths and serious injuries were common. Chroniclers like Froissart documented instances of knights dying in these mock battles. Additionally, the lack of advanced medical knowledge and the prevalence of diseases in medieval times compounded the risks. Wounds sustained in battle could easily become infected, leading to fatalities. Thus, despite their status and armor, knights faced a high mortality rate, a testament to the perilous nature of their profession in an era marked by constant warfare and limited medical understanding. In the annals of medieval history, certain knights stand out for their extraordinary feats, leaving indelible marks on the tapestry of time. Their stories, steeped in valor, strategy, and complex human experiences, paint a vivid picture of knighthood during the Middle Ages. William Marshall, known as the Greatest Knight, epitomized the essence of chivalry and martial skill. Born in 1146, Marshall's life was a saga of relentless combat and unwavering loyalty. His reputation soared in the melee of tournaments and the chaos of battlefields. Serving under 4 English kings, Marshall's loyalty was as legendary as his prowess in combat, a rare combination that earned him respect and admiration across Europe. His life was not just a tale of personal glory, it represented the ideal of knighthood, valorous, loyal, and skilled in the art of war. Richard the Lionheart, reigning as King of England from 1189 until his death in 1199, was a figure of both awe and controversy. His leadership in the Third Crusade carved his image as a formidable warrior king. Richard's military acumen was most evident in the Siege of Acre and the Battle of Arsuf, where his bravery and tactical skill were on full display. His confrontations against Muslim forces not only marked his reign, but also left a lasting imprint on the history of the Crusades. In the heart of medieval Spain, Rodrigo Diaz de Vivar, known as El Cid, carved out a legacy as a masterful military leader. His exploits, immortalized in the epic poem Cantar de Mio Cid, captured the essence of his life, a relentless warrior who fought against both Moors and Christians. El Cid's story is a testament to the complex nature of knighthood, where loyalty and martial prowess often intersected with the intricate politics of the time. Edward, the Black Prince, son of King Edward III of England, was a central figure during the 100 Years' War. His roles in the battles of Crécy and Poitiers were marked by tactical brilliance. However, his actions, like the sack of Limoges, also revealed a ruthless side, underscoring the often brutal reality of medieval warfare. Bertrand du Guesclin, a renowned French commander, became known for his strategic ingenuity during the 100 Years' War. Employing guerrilla tactics against the English, du Guesclin played a pivotal role in shifting the war's tide. His approach to warfare was not just about brute force, but also about adaptability and cunning, qualities that made him both respected and feared. Henry V of England, whose reign spanned from 1413 to 1422, was celebrated for his military triumphs, notably the Battle of Agincourt. Here, his leadership and strategic acumen led an outnumbered English army to a stunning victory. This battle, immortalized in Shakespeare's play Henry V, highlighted Henry's prowess as a military leader and his ability to inspire his troops against overwhelming odds. Charles Martel, a Frankish statesman and military leader, left an indelible mark on European history. His victory at the Battle of Tours in 732 against the Umayyad Caliphate was a turning point, halting the northward advance of Islam in Western Europe. This achievement not only underscored his military skill, but also shaped the religious and cultural landscape of medieval Europe. Godefroy de Bouillon, a key figure in the First Crusade, was instrumental in the capture of Jerusalem in 1099. His role in the crusade etched his name as a revered figure in Christendom. Godefroy's prowess in battle and his leadership during the crusade epitomized the crusading spirit of the age, where religious zeal often drove knights to distant lands in pursuit of holy causes. Baldwin IV of Jerusalem, known as the Leper King, reigned during a tumultuous period marked by the Crusades. Despite being afflicted with leprosy, Baldwin IV's leadership was characterized by strategic brilliance and courage. His defense of Jerusalem against the forces of Saladin showcased not just military skill, but also a remarkable determination to overcome personal adversity for the sake of his kingdom. John Hawkwood, an English mercenary who led the White Company in Italy, demonstrated the evolving nature of medieval warfare. Known for his use of infantry and dismounted tactics, Hawkwood's career in Italy was marked by his adaptability and tactical acumen. His exploits in the Italian city-states during the 14th century reflected the changing dynamics of warfare and the increasing role of mercenaries in medieval conflicts. These knights, from Marshall to Hawkwood, represented the multifaceted nature of knighthood in the Middle Ages. Their stories, intertwined with the broader historical currents of their time, offer insights into the complexities of medieval warfare, politics, and the chivalric code. Each knight, in his unique way, contributed to the legacy of knighthood. The concept of knights as trained assassins is not a typical portrayal in the historical context of the Middle Ages. Traditionally, knights were bound by the chivalric code, emphasizing honor, bravery, and service rather than clandestine or covert operations typically associated with assassination. However, the complexities of medieval politics and warfare sometimes blurred these idealized roles. Knights in the Middle Ages were primarily trained for combat and warfare, serving as heavy cavalry in battles. Their training, starting from a young age as pages and then squires, was focused on mastering the art of war, including horsemanship, swordsmanship, and tactics, rather than covert assassination skills. The chivalric code, which they were expected to adhere to, generally regarded treacherous behaviors like assassination as dishonorable. That being said, the Middle Ages were a period rife with political intrigue, and there were instances where knights may have been involved in plots that included assassination. However, these were not reflective of their formal training or typical roles. One historical example could be the case of the Knights Templar, a medieval Christian military order. While primarily known as warrior monks, there were allegations, though often disputed and regarded as part of the Templars' downfall orchestrated by King Philip IV of France, that some Templars engaged in secretive and possibly subversive activities. While knights in the Middle Ages were skilled warriors and played complex roles in the feudal system, the portrayal of them as trained assassins deviates from their traditional historical image and the principles of chivalry that guided their conduct. Their involvement in acts of assassination, if any, would have been exceptional and not representative of their primary function in medieval society. The twilight of the medieval knight, an era-defining symbol of feudal Europe, was precipitated by sweeping changes across technological, military, and political landscapes. The advent of gunpowder and the cannon, particularly in the late 15th century, signaled a profound shift in the art of warfare, rendering the traditional knightly armor and tactics obsolete. Knighthood had thrived in an era where hand-to-hand combat and heavy cavalry charges dominated the battlefield. Knights, clad in armor, were the embodiment of military might and prowess. However, the introduction of gunpowder, a technology that originated in China and gradually permeated into Europe, began to alter this dynamic drastically. The The cannon, with its ability to breach castle walls and decimate infantry formations, diminished the strategic advantage of fortified positions and heavily armored troops. Simultaneously, handheld firearms, although initially rudimentary, eventually evolved to become effective tools against armored knights. These technological advancements coincided with broader military and political shifts. Feudal systems, which had underpinned the social and military organization of Europe, began to wane, giving way to more centralized state powers. This transition facilitated the development of standing armies, diminishing the reliance on feudal levies, which knights were a part of. The military focus shifted towards versatile, mobile units that could maneuver quickly and utilize the emerging gunpowder weapons effectively. The shift was also economic. Maintaining knightly armaments and war horses was exceedingly costly, and the new technologies offered more cost-effective means of waging war. The economic burden of equipping and fielding knights became increasingly untenable, especially as firearms and artillery units proved less expensive and more effective on the evolving battlefield. In conclusion, the decline of the medieval knight was not just the result of technological innovation, but a confluence of military, economic, and political transformations. The end of this era marked a significant turning point in military history, paving the way for modern warfare tactics and the rise of the nation-state. The legacy of the knights, however, continued to influence military and cultural paradigms, their ethos and valor remaining a touchstone in the collective memory of European history. If this narrative resonated with you, do support us. Hit that like button, drop a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe. Thank you for staying with us to the end. See you in the next video on Plaid Chronicles.